Hello, Cohort 9. Good to see you or to be seen by you. I am Laleda G. I am a consultant with Nehemiah as well as one of the co founders of Nehemiah. And I am coming to talk with you today about conflict kind of as opportunity. And so, you either after this or before this, you will have watched a 10-minute or so documentary that I created a few years back called Black Woman Heal. And that is important because as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, I use that as my conflict. Like a conflict could be just a bad interaction you have with someone else or just bad interaction you have with life. So being a survivor of childhood sexual abuse was my conflict in life. And for many, many years, it really had me. Okay? It had me. And it distorted who I was. It distorted who I thought I could be. And until I made a decision to change in life, I was held down by my past. I was held down by shame. I was held down by fear. I was held down by anxiety and depression and all of those things that really come when you have something like that in your life, particularly as a child, and I pretty much had meant to go all my life without telling. And part of that is because when we go through a conflict, many times we blame ourselves. I felt like I was wrong, I was bad, I was spoiled, used and abused and good for nothing. And I promise you that every conflict in life has a lesson, has a blessing. And it's not always easy to see. It's because we don't know. We know how to go by the world's view of success, of healthy, of well, of worthy. But we don't know how to always go by God's view. And by the world's view, it's like if you've gone through X, Y, and Z, if you've, been to prison, if you've been abused, if you've been divorced, whatever it is, it makes it seem like you're unqualified. But what I've come to learn is that where you have been hurt, where you have been broken, that's where you have the most authority. This is in God's rules, God's way, and so everything is not the same thing for everybody that motivates you to face that conflict, to look for the silver lining, to look for the blessing, to look for the glass being half full. There's different things that happen that become a catalyst in our lives that makes us stand up against what we've been through and to create a new reality. For me, it was my kids. I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to have men in and out of my house. I wasn't going to have craziness going around my children after I got divorced, because I did not want them to live the same life that I had lived, that my mother had lived before me. And so they were really my catalyst. But your catalyst can be anything to look at it. And what I have found is that when you put a demand on a conflict, on an issue, on a problem, on your past, on your future, when you put a demand on it, it can't deny you to come up with some kind of blessing. I promise you, no matter what it is you're going through, there's a blessing involved somewhere. And when you can begin to see that blessing, that is the start of finding a way out of your conflict into opportunity. So now, going back to my documentary, I wanted to talk to a bunch of Black women who either have been survivors or they work with survivors. There's a nurse, there's a a student, social worker, just a plethora of experiences of the women who are in the documentary. And I wanted to use my story because what I come to find out is that there's so much power in your experiences, power in your story. Sanctified folks call it testimony. There's power in it because people need to be reminded that life can be better than what it is. Okay? It can be better. And when we determine that not even a conflict is a problem for us, that a conflict is an opportunity for us to grow, to bless, to seek God, to seek us, to seek our giftedness, to seek a different reality for our lives, for our families, for our children, for our spouses. It begins to open up. Your mind just changes, and the limiting thoughts that you had before begin to disappear when you start thinking every conflict is an opportunity. So I just wanted to let you in on my life a little bit and what I've been through, how I've used my experience as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse to like really shape my life's work. You know, my work with defending black girlhood is all about the experience that I went through that I don't want another black girl to go through. And so I would love for you to think about what's that conflict in your life? What's that experience in your life that you've gone through and thought it came to destroy you instead of make you? And how can you use that experience for greater good? Thanks for listening to my story, and I hope you enjoyed the documentary.